What is up, Postal Besties? It is your girl, Creole Barbie, here alongside with
Miracle.
And today we are moving the mail with episode 15. You guys, if you hadn't done so already, be sure to refer back to our old moving mail segments because we're having a lot of information in these episodes. So for today, I want to talk to you, Miracle, about some really important things because we just finished up election season at the USPS.
Yes.
How was it? Was it stressful?
Not really. I was actually shocked because it was kind of slow. I thought we was gonna be really busy.
I did too, actually.
And it hasn't been that bad.
It hasn't been as bad as I thought it was. Now, Granted, we did have a lot of political mail.
Yeah.
Those were my least favorite.
I didn't like how they made us pull out the ballots out. I'm like, well, that is not our job. How we gonna run and pull out ballots?
But I guess because we had to get those ballots to each American citizen for those votes, Miracle.
That's right.
We had to make everyone vote count.
That's right.
And especially knowing in the USPS, we can't keep any ballots there.
Right.
Because if we do, we'll get fined.
Right.
I feel like we all played an important part. And I thank you, my sister, for your service.
Do we get an incentive for it?
No. However, Miracle, we are in overtime right now, and I do have to run very fast. So I'm going to go ahead and start the machine up, and we're going to go ahead and continue to move the mail. All right. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is mandatory overtime at the USPS.
Let's talk about it.
Can I be written up if I choose not to work overtime if I was actually called to work non-list or on the overtime desired list, or if I'm a PSC?
Want me to answer that?
Go ahead and answer it.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so this is something that's actually happening right now at our facility.
What's going on?
So I had talked with an individual on tour 3, and they told me that right now our lead supervisors are calling non-lists on the overtime desired list and PSCs. They're making them fill out something that's called 3971, stating that they have to be excused from overtime. If not, these are unexcusable and it can lead up to disciplinary actions.
Okay, wait. So I'm confused as well because I was told that there was not going to be any more PSCs in the building. Are these the ones that before the new contract took place, or we still got PSCs there?
So right now, Miracle, we still don't have a contract.
Right, but remember they were saying they were only bringing us in as career.
So they do have to have a number of PSCs.
Oh.
So they actually in the orientation class had about, I want to say 100 people, and only 5 of them came to the plant. The rest of them went to the station.
Wow.
But what I really want to tell individuals is that if it's not a state of an emergency, they can't technically mandate overtime.
And they've never written us up for not staying. That's kind of crazy.
But if they call non-list on the overtime desired list as well as PSCs, I would say it's crucial to fill out a 3971. Just don't clock out, to cover your own behind.
So wait, let me ask you this. If they're filling out the 3971s, is this excusing them to go home and the supervisor will clock them out? Or because you said don't clock out.
So it's excusing them from not working overtime. So before you clock out, be sure to fill out that 3971.
Okay, got you.
And I don't care if you want me to fill it out every single day. I will do that.
Yeah, if I'm not staying.
I choose not to stay.
By your own will.
And take a picture of it.
Absolutely.
Because you never know what may come up.
I'm glad you brought that up. Make sure that when you do fill out those 3971s, you are documenting, when she said take a picture, your documentation, because they are known for, I don't remember you giving that to me. What dates was it? Who did it? Who signed it? They are good for that. So make sure you are documenting your documentation.
Absolutely. And they don't put your time in sometime.
Yeah, you got to stay on them.
after you put that 3971 in their hand. And I think that is just a bunch of
BS.
Absolutely. But because we are moving the mail and we're moving it at a fast pace than normal,
Yeah.
I have another question to talk about.
Uh-oh.
Now, this is something that sounds so familiar to me.
What is it?
And I actually went through this not too long ago. So, the question is, overtime desire list rules when transferring to a different tour. Do you have to be placed back on the overtime desire list when transferring from Tour 2 to Tour 1, or Tour 1 to Tour 3, or Tour 3 to Tour 2?
You want me to answer that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely not. They said that you automatically go over, you roll over to whatever tour you're going to the overtime desire list. That's what the union told me. She said you technically do not have to re-sign the documents, but they have a period where you're supposed to, like, to be able to stay on the list. Like, they might have you sign it, and then 6 months go by, you're supposed to keep signing it. Some of us don't, because we weren't aware that we were supposed to. But I was told, now I don't know how true this is, y'all, but I was told from the union, you do not have to re-sign.
So it's so weird, because I was approached telling me, because I was the newly Tour 2 clerk,
Right.
that I needed to sign. So I went to my local workroom office, and I said I want to be placed on the overtime desired list. Then they told me, well, you don't need a Form 13. And for those who are watching, if you're a new converted employee, if you want to do overtime, you have to fill out a Form 13. Just don't stay because they ask you to. You have to fill it out, or you will have to go home, because number one, if individuals catch wind of that, they can file a grievance for you staying and not on the overtime desired list. So it's critical that we be sure to pay attention to these things.
Yeah.
Miracle made that mistake not too long ago. She was staying and working as hard as she could.
Jeez! I smell bullshit. Okay, let me just say this, y'all. Y'all know I tell the truth. There are dozens of postal employee workers, right?
Yes.
Y'all cannot tell me that everybody is on that list. There was even a period of time that me and my husband worked, and we were not on the list, and we were still doing overtime. So I really feel like it depends on your supervisor. It depends on the veterans or the seniors that work on your floor. Because, you got one floor that's petty, one floor that just don't care what you're doing, and you got the other one that's always in somebody's business. So, yes, you should make sure you're on the list, but does it really matter? I hear a lot of SDOs say not really.
Because I hear some people say, oh, well, if you stay and you're not on the list, that's considered stealing time. But
think about that.
But I mean, if they're calling non-list, they're not technically on the list, and you got.
And you letting them do overtime.
Speaking of overtime, have you actually took a look at the overtime announcement?
What did it say?
So you haven't took a look at the overtime announcement?
No, ma'am.
I had a coworker who sent me the overtime announcement for tomorrow. The overtime announcement specifically says, so this is what it says. It says, Tour 2 overtime desire list clerks in the blank location will report 2 hours early. Report to automation on the second floor. If you cannot perform job duties assignment, do not come in early.
I seen that. I seen that a couple of days ago. We came in Monday for early overtime, and when I read it Sunday, so I knew we was gonna come in early not Sundays, we wasn't there, but I had called in, and when we came in that Monday and I read it for Tuesday, it was like, and do not report 2 hours early or whatever it said if you cannot perform the job duties.
Do you think those quotations are necessary?
No, but we kind of know where this is going and who did it. We ain't gonna say no names.
Speaking of the workroom office, because that's another question I have. It seems like on this episode we specifically are talking about the overtime, because it's important, because we're approaching peak season, so you're gonna be getting a lot of overtime.
Y'all better eat that up while y'all can.
But I was actually off of work And I called the workroom office and
Okay.
said, hello, this is Creole Barbie. I wanted to know if I can come in 2 hours early. What did you guys call an overtime announcement? And the woman told me, you need to call one of your homegirls and find out. Because I ain't supposed to be giving you no information.
Now, first things first, that is ghetto as hell when they answer their phones. You need to come correct and professional.
But that's important because remember when we told individuals about keeping a circle of people around them? Well, it's important, Miracle, because have 1 or 2 people you communicate with.
Yeah.
To where if they're working and you're not, you can get that information about early overtime announcements and things like that if it's your Monday.
Yep.
Because
And get their numbers, because the workroom sucks at telling us about the overtimes. And you know, I actually found out you can file a grievance with that. Because if you're on the overtime desire list, they're supposed to call you, but for some reason they don't call everybody.
Absolutely.
Gillian
And
told me that you can file a grievance for that.
you can, if you had not been notified, even if you're there and they don't tell you and they amend the overtime announcement and say, hey, we're no longer called 10 hours, we called 12 hours, and you clock that at 10 hours, that's a grievance.
Yeah, that's a grievance.
But you guys, this wraps up the overtime segment on episode 15 because I wanted to kind of throw this information out there because like I said, we are approaching peak season.
That's right.
And I want you guys to know the ins and the outs when it
Wait,
comes
we
to...
already in peak.
Well, technically peak isn't here yet. Alright, you guys, that concludes episode 15 of Moving the Mail with Miracle.
That's right.
You guys, if you hadn't done so already, be sure to subscribe to Miracle's channel,
Please and thank you.
which is Sisterhood Convos. She actually uploads every week. I'm actually co-hosting with her on her podcast, and you guys can actually see clips of that video coming up next.
That's right.
All right, so thank you guys for watching. Love you guys as always. And Miracle, where's your time card?
You clocking out. I got it right here. Peace.